You're listening to another episode of Inside the Techosystem, a podcast where we bring you fun and insightful topics about tech and its ecosystem in Nigeria. It's your favorite person, obviously, Chuka. And right in front of me is Emmanuel, your second favorite person.
Mm-hmm.
And we're glad to
They get to decide anyway.
We're glad you joined us on this episode once again. We actually love recording these episodes because we have lovely listeners.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
What? Which was fix your face, guy.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, what have we been up to since the last time we recorded?
Let's see. I think I've been kind of in the mood of Christmas and holidays. I've been very lazy, like in the last 2 weeks or so. As in,
I don't know. I'm not
playing games.
I'm not really feeling it.
Just not doing as much work as I used to do. So, I guess.
Okay, this is a man that has over how many projects on his head. Well, that's fine. I don't know. I've not really been feeling Christmas. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe someone should send me a Christmas hamper to
look at this one
to get me in the mood. Okay, so let's just get right into the episode. This is, as you can see from the title, another episode, another installment of the Inside the Mind of series. And today we have a very special guest in our midst. And why we say special is not because, when you go to church for the first time, everybody says we have a very special guest in our midst. But this one is special because you don't see his kind everywhere on the streets. Like, when you can see us
everywhere.
You can see us any day. You can wake up in the morning and boom, there's a developer that builds on the web right beside your bed. But Tosin right here is a game developer, and he has a knack for extended reality, for the extended reality spectrum. That's augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality. Actually, I didn't know the difference between all these things until I actually met Tosin, and
since I met you.
So most of the work that why can't Emmanuel be serious? So most of the work that Tosin has been doing, Tosin actually has a lot of skill. Yeah, you see some of those filters on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Tosin has some that he did though.
Nice.
Yeah, like pretty cool stuff, right?
I think I would like to use it.
We'll put the link in the show notes. Tosin is actually a game developer first, so he believes games will have a great impact across Africa in years to come, and he's currently working very hard in that space to bring game development to the level it has to be in Africa. He's a co-founder at Africa Comicade as well. I feel like I've said a lot about Tosin, so I'm just going to let Tosin, my man, to give us the full gist. When you're introducing yourself to a girl, how do you usually sound? What do you tell your babes, Tosin?
Okay then. My name is Tosin. Just as Chuka said, I'm a game developer with a knack for the extended reality spectrum, basically. I've been in the games industry for about 3 years now, and I've worked on various game projects. I've built projects for learning-based purposes. I've built XR projects ranging from virtual reality projects to augmented reality projects. And I also enjoy public speaking. So yeah, that's basically it about me.
Yeah. I've seen Tosin speak at an event before. I actually made it very fun. I think I anchored that event. I was Tosin and his guys organized it. But it was nice. It was really nice. Yeah. Okay, Tosin, there's something we always do with every single guest that comes on the show. Is a question. We always ask a question. We always ask one question. And the question is very personal and it's really dear to our hearts. I mean, like, we just want you to be brutally honest. Right? Like, it's a matter of life and death. So are you ready?
Yeah, sure, I'm ready.
All right. Emmanuel, I'll let Emmanuel ask you the question.
Okay. I don't think the question is as deep as Chika
Don't mind me. I'm always messing around.
Yeah. So the question is, what would you be doing if you weren't in tech?
The question is quite simple for me to answer. If I wasn't into game
Um,
development at all, I'd be a pro esports player. I would go full time
oh,
pro in esports. Yeah.
so wait, let me get this straight. Did you say EA Sports?
Esports.
Esports, yeah?
Esports, electronic sports.
Esports. Okay. So like that's like a full-time job for some people, right?
Yes, it is. Just the way you
So
have
like they just wake up.
footballers and stuff that get
Yeah,
paid salaries to play
yeah,
matches and all. You have guys that
yeah.
play games and get paid. They're assigned to clubs and stuff like that. Yeah.
Wait, wait,
That's
wait,
that's
wait, back up,
that's
back up. So like they
that's
just
so
wake up in the
interesting.
morning and they carry pad and they start playing game.
God, man.
Basically, that's how it is, but it's not like that. It's just the same way your footballers go for trainings, they go for stuff
Yeah.
like that. It's just the same way. But this time around, it's about games.
That's nice.
Yeah, so okay, where can I apply? Is that like a form or something?
There are different organizations that are into esports. There's even that for basketball. There's one that
Oh,
they recently organized. I can't really say the name, but once I get it, I'll
Okay.
pass it across to you for basketball esports players.
Is it 2K?
Yes, 2K.
2K. 2K. Is it
no need.
something yard?
I don't know. I don't know, man. So
What
like,
yard? I think so. I'm
so
not
like,
sure.
what are the major benefits or something? I'm trying to understand. Like, is it that when all these companies build games, they hire these people to, you know, come and test the game or something like that?
That's for the ones that want to transition into the QA testing role where they actually play games and test games for developers. But the ones that are just full esports pro players, play games, participate in competitions, and just do their thing and get paid. Yeah.
Okay. So, I think after this, I'm just going to look more on that. I mean, any way to make money is a very, very lucrative means. All right.
So
Um, Tosin, okay, question number one. Let's just get into it. What's it like being a game developer in Nigeria?
Okay. Let me start by saying game development is still quite new to us here in this part of the world. And the game development scene in Nigeria hasn't been that great, I would say. But it has been buzzing for a while now, since 2012, where we had
Uh-huh.
the likes of Malio Games, Korea Games, so come up and create games for the African market. But since then, it has been ups and downs so far. But with recent events and things are happening, we have more people coming into the game development space. And this has really created new opportunities for people who want to become game developers thrive. So the
Oh,
game
okay.
development scene in Nigeria generally is still here and there, but it's making progress one time.
Okay. Okay. Do you think other developers look at you guys and say, "What are you guys doing? Don't you go and
Like
pick
I
Python?"
like I always say, game development in Nigeria, the whole industry is just so underrepresented. They don't consider game developers as
Man,
developers at all because it feels like these
wow.
guys are not writing code.
that's hard.
Because what most people see is the game itself, the animations working and all, and people are like, "Oh, so there are codes behind this thing." Yes, of course, there are codes behind this thing, and there are people that actually write codes here. But
Actually,
most people
right.
don't see it. Like I
Yeah.
just feel
Yeah.
game development is plug and play.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think I can relate because I had a friend who was into game development, and all we usually used to see is when he's working on the graphics end. We don't see when he's actually writing the logic. So everybody always thinks, oh, it's just to put head on the body and then put arms and then to start working by itself. Well, there's a lot more than that.
So there's a stigma in game development in Nigeria.
I won't call it stigma. I
Yeah,
think it's ignorance. Yeah,
Ignorance.
people don't know. They don't know about it.
All right. That's why we have this podcast. So
Mm-hmm.
today people are going to learn anyways.
let me say
Yes.
So
something before we move on. Sorry.
okay. Okay.
In a game
All right.
development studio, when it comes to programming, you have about five or more roles under the programming department itself, depending on the scale of the studio. You
Okay.
have AI programmers, you have network programmers, you have tools programmers, you have UI programmers, you have audio programmers, all working on just one game. So that shows how large programming is needed when building games.
Wow,
Wow.
that's encouraging. More
And
jobs.
for like web developers, we have front end and back end basically, and then one person can be full stack, one person can do everything. So is it like that in game dev? Like, can one person be the audio, be the AI, be the you know?
Yeah, it depends on the scale of the game. So where you
Wow.
see
Okay.
programmers like that is in indie games development, guys that build indie games. So indie games is more like small studios, small games that have been built. But when it comes to
Okay.
AAA, I know you can't have one person doing all that.
Okay. Okay. All
What's
right.
triple A?
I
Oh,
think AAA is like things like Call of
AAA
Duty.
is just the same thing as blockbuster movies. Like the way you have blockbuster movies,
Oh,
the likes of Avengers and all, you have the likes of GTA, FIFA. Those are the AAA games.
Okay, I was close. I
mhm.
guess I was close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you mentioned, it's still in its developing stages, but even at that, for the fact that you yourself, you're a game developer, I believe that there will be at least some form of market for it. Like maybe there are some customers at least that you guys are seeing or something like that. Am I right or am I wrong?
To an extent, you are, but the market generally is quite little in this part of the world. I recently spoke with a
Yeah.
game developer friend, and it was like most of his downloads on Play Store are from outside Nigeria.
Wow.
That
Okay.
most people
Wow.
that play his games are from Asia, South America, and like
Wow.
very, very few numbers are from Africa. And I'm like, wow. So the
Did
market is
he
still quite
market it
small.
in Africa and like was he tweeting it? Was he or Nigerians don't have the time?
Exactly.
Why is it
Nigerians don't have the
developing?
time. And most
All right,
Nigerians feel
Nigeria.
games made in Nigeria are not that standard and quality enough. But they always
Wow.
forget
Mm.
that the games that are standard and quality now started from one place too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's just about, just pushing you guys so that
Mm-hmm.
actually I understand, man. I understand.
Yeah. So, like, do you have any games out there? Like, which game are you most proud of that you've worked on?
I've
Very
worked on a
interesting.
couple of games, but I don't have any commercial game yet. So I wouldn't say there's any game on Play Store that you can go and download. But I do have some side projects that are available on GitHub. But what I've been doing mostly is creating game projects for learning based purposes.
Oh, okay. So something like what can we even use? There are a couple of game based projects, like if you wanted to learn Flexbox or something.
Probably.
That's kind of like game
Yeah.
like
You could just
Flexbox
you could
for
just
game.
tell us a little bit about the game, so now listeners can see some of the things that our devs in Nigeria, like game devs, are doing.
Yeah. Are you working
Okay.
on one currently?
Am I working on a game currently? Yes. I'm working on this endless runner game using Buildbox, actually.
Okay.
It was something I used to teach some of the kids, I think last week at a school I went to, courtesy of the Creative Kids Zone. So I'm working on like a basic game for guys to see, and I'll be dropping like a article to walk people through how the game was built, and from there they can learn how to use Buildbox.
Wow. Okay.
That's
So
nice.
it's
So that's
so
that's
it's more
actually
like
That's
an
very
really
endless
nice.
cool.
runner game. Yeah.
Very nice. Tosin is a big deal, okay?
Yeah.
Have you noticed? All right.
Okay, so what are the current challenges with you and other game developers in Nigeria? Like right now, you have a company you're working on, obviously every day you have challenges, but what are the biggest challenges like that you guys face as game developers in Nigeria, apart from the usual stigma that you guys aren't doing anything? What about, like, let's say you're trying to make a game, what are your biggest challenges in making a game?
Okay. I think the first one would be monetization. Monetization. of games in this part of the world is still very poor. That's why we have a lot of companies that have come and they have just gone, because hacking the monetization system when it comes to games in this part of the world is still an issue. And also, we have very few people that are into game development, so that doesn't create enough talent pool to
Oh,
get
true.
developers from. So
Mhm.
these are like some of the things we are facing currently. And also, the big game companies that we have are not bringing in local developers enough.
Mm,
This might be as a result of not having enough game developers to bring in or something else. And lastly, I would say we don't have a structured means by which people can learn game development yet. So this has
mm.
actually been something that has been affecting a whole lot in the industry. There's no structured means by which people can say, okay, I want to learn game dev. This is where I go to. This is how I start. This is how I finish.
So what's the current roadmap like? Like if I wanted to become a game dev today, like I'm not settling for anything less. I don't want to do any of the normal tech stuff that a lot of us do in Nigeria. Like I want to become a game dev in Nigeria. Like what's the roadmap like? What do I need to learn? What are the things I need to pick up? What kind of system do I need? Because I know I can't I can't use my current uh,
HP.
2 gig RAM. So all those kind of things. I believe you should have mentioned. I don't know if you should have mentioned that as a challenge too, because those kind of systems are probably quite expensive,
Yeah.
right? So
Okay, for system requirements, starting basic game development, you won't necessarily need a very, very mad system. At least if you are using the
oh,
likes of Construct and let's say Buildbox, you won't be using a very, very mad system. Something pretty decent is okay. But when you start moving to games that require large number of assets, where you have crazy ass 3D models that you need to put in your game, that's when you need the heavy machines and all. But like the
yeah,
basic game development standard, you don't really need something that is very, very, very much. You just need something pretty decent.
Mm.
okay.
But once you
So
are
what's pretty
working on
decent?
the likes of pretty
2 gig
decent
RAM.
4 gig RAM, 4 gig RAM, 8 gig RAM, let's say Core
No,
i3 7th gen,
Wow, 8
it's
gig RAM
fine.
is decent.
it's-
When I used to think that 8 gig RAM was mad.
my system is 8 gig RAM now.
Wow.
I shouldn't be saying that.
Would you need a graphics? Would you need a graphics card or
Most
graphics
likely
driver for any kind of game development?
for basic
the
games.
basic the basic Intel graphics card that comes with most PCs, let's say having 2 gig dedicated or something safe works. It's fine.
Hmm.
Something very basic works. So far it's basic game development, it works.
Chuka, I think we need to start putting our finances together.
Why is it that? Why is that every time we have some other profession, Emmanuel wants to switch careers so quickly? I'm tired, man.
Man, web developers. I
Um,
have you guys back for life.
and we
Okay,
mentioned earlier.
so
Okay.
learning the roadmap, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There's no specific roadmap yet, at least in this part of the world. It's not like there's a bachelor's degree where you can go and bag your game development
Are you
um,
sure?
degree. In
Out of the world.
Nigeria, I'm talking
Out of
about
the-
this part of the world. Outside there, there are lots of degrees. Outside there, there are lots of degrees. But in this part of the world, there's nothing yet. So most of the game
Hmm.
developers I know here started with YouTube. Most game developers will know the likes of Jimmy Vegas and Brackeys because that's where they started from. That's where they started learning YouTube. Then from there, you now continue moving and meeting other people and just trying to see what you can also grab from everyone. So that's where most people started. It's always YouTube. YouTube is like a whole university on its own.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What about possible softwares that you could use as well?
Okay, then for game development IDEs, we have Unity, we have Unreal Engine, we have Construct, we have Buildbox, we have Godot, but the one that is popular amongst developers here is Unity. because Unity is easily
Okay.
accessible and it's not that heavy to start with compared to Unreal. So most people opt in for
Okay.
Unity, and it uses C Sharp as the scripting tool.
Okay.
So that's what.
Is it are the others paid? Are they paid software?
Buildbox now has a free version. Construct also has a free trial now, and Unreal too just became free some months ago, maybe a year or so, but it just became free. So Unity was like
Wow.
readily accessible for a lot of guys when we started. And most of these guys are
Okay.
cross-platform.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Oh. All right. I mentioned earlier that Tosin was or is a co-founder at Africa Comicade, and I know Africa Comicade is like a community, right? That
Yeah.
has digital creatives, animators, comic book artists, I guess. Everybody in the same place. So I'll just let Tosin talk a little bit about Africa Comicade. Yeah.
Okay, so Africa Comicade is a platform whereby we celebrate different people in the digital creative industry, from the game developers to the animators to people in the movie industry, comics, and so much more. So we do this via insightful events like game
Mm.
jams, conferences, meetups, fireside chats, and the likes. So we recently organized the Africa Comicade Gamathon, which lasted for about 2 weeks. And the main idea behind the Gamathon was to ensure that we had collaboration across borders. We just didn't want people from Nigeria to work together. We want people from Nigeria to connect with people in South Africa, people in Cameroon, and the like. So we just wanted that collaboration across Africa. So we all can see that there are different creatives out there doing amazing things, but with collaboration would go a long way. So we had over 20 games built during the game jam, which lasted for 3 days. And before the game jam, we had
Wow.
different talk sessions from people in Africa and outside Africa. We had representatives from EA Games talk about game development. We had people from various game publishers like Ludic Works, Aha Games, Carry First, talk about monetization and publishing in Africa generally. And just to enlighten
Yeah.
developers about how they can actually make money from their games and the processes they have to go through. And also, we had
Yeah.
different prize winning categories, from the most diverse team to the best team fits game, because the theme of the game jam was avoid the spread of it, avoid the spread of the virus and the likes. And we also had categories like the best women in gaming category, sorry. And we also had the most visually appealing game, the most creative game, and stuff like that. We had cash prizes of about $6,000 that was shared amongst
Wait,
the
wait,
winners.
wait, wait. There was cash price.
Yes, yes,
Why?
there
It's
was.
representing us.
Why are you like this now? You couldn't even text me on WhatsApp or
Do
something
you
that
build
I
games?
should come out. I can
Oof.
learn.
Hey, man. Let's move on.
I can learn, man. Come on. Just
Yeah.
keep going, keep going, keep going.
Okay,
Therefore, cutting you
so
short. Okay.
that's so we had prizes given out to the winners. We had winners from Zambia, we had winners from Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya. So it was quite interesting meeting a lot of game developers from different parts of Africa. And yeah, that was it.
Mm,
So with the
wow.
Gamathon, I was opportunity to meet a lot of people actually. And it was quite interesting for me, amazing experience for me. And moving on, we are looking at continuing with monthly game jams to help foster collaboration amongst these developers and not just stop there. We have a community challenge coming up this month to just encourage these developers to create something and share with the world. And we are
Oh,
currently in
okay.
talks with game publishers like Humble Bundle, AHA Games to help developers that are creating games push their games out there to the world, both the local market here and the international market as well.
Okay.
That sounds like a whole lot you're doing. And
Yeah, and
that's great
it
stuff,
also
man.
sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Because like it's games now. You're not building infrastructure or microservices and
Can we
stuff.
stop shitting our
I feel
likes?
like they're going to come at me on this
They
podcast.
will
Guys, I'm sorry,
eventually.
man. I love you guys. Tosi, you keep talking about monetization. I wanted to ask you because I know you mentioned it being
Chika
an
likes
issue.
money.
Chill now. Come on. Everybody likes money. Yeah. I know you mentioned it being an issue. And I was just wondering because, man, it's Africa, right? Like, a large population of the country that broke, that poor. So, I mean, first of all, it's Africa, we're broke. And second of all, it's Africa. Most of us are angry, especially Nigerians. And we, we don't even have games on our phones and we don't even have the time to play games. So, like, I'm pretty sure people would have thought about all these things. So, how do you think you plan to tackle that monetization issue? Like, how do you want to get Africans, especially Nigerians, to pay for your games that you built? Because sometimes, no matter how interesting it is, once we
Once you
see
see,
9.99 on Play Store or wait, okay, your free trial has ended to purchase this game.
and that's the end of the
They're
game.
uninstalling it to straight up. So I want to hear some of the steps you all have taken, maybe at
Okay.
Africa Comicade, what you guys thought,
Okay, so here it is. I'm not so big on the monetization aspect, I would say, because business wise, it's a whole lot. But with my little knowledge so far, the best thing is still to work with in app purchases. And we just have to re-strategize how in-app purchases works now. Fine, the primary means of making money from games in this part of the world is via ads. So if you play most games now,
Yeah,
you see something like reward ads, whereby when you lose, they'll tell you that watch this video for 30 seconds to continue instead of you
yeah,
quitting the
yeah,
game. So things like that are
yeah.
being
That was smart.
implemented, and in-app purchases. It's in-app purchases until we have that esports
Mm,
game that everybody will want to play for money. I think we are still going to be
yeah.
looking at in-app purchases. So it's basically
Mm,
in-app purchases, different ways.
Yeah, that sounds like a
yeah,
good
that's cool.
one.
That's
Yeah,
cool. That's reasonable, I guess.
yeah. I think we are getting to the end, and we'd like to ask, what piece of advice would you give to anyone trying to start development? So, for instance, after this podcast, me and you can now go and put our finances together and get a good laptop. So, what's your advice for people like us
That's a
that want
lie.
to
That's a
that want
lie.
to go into game development, at least in Nigeria?
Okay, the first thing I would say is start as early as you can. And when you're starting out, try to reach out to people that are in that space already. It would help a lot with getting access to
Yeah.
resources that you can use to learn, with providing uh, a roadmap for you to learn, and you can have access to various events that could always motivate you and inspire you to continue doing what you want to do.
Hmm. Okay. So Emmanuel and the rest of people that are trying to get into the game dev, you guys have heard,
Yeah,
so.
I've already taken notes.
And if you have more questions, we're going to link Tosin's socials in the show notes. You could also tweet at us, after this episode, and like we love hearing from you. All right, Tosin, we're actually rounding up now, but before we end, we always ask.
Always play a
Yes,
game.
we always play a game. either we play a game or we'll ask you a random question. Yeah. So how we interact with guests is at the beginning of the show, we ask you a question. What would you be doing if you're in the tech? And at the end, we also ask you a random question or we have a little game with you. So, okay. This question is kind of, can I say contradictory? I don't know. No.
Controversial.
Controversial. Yeah. God, English. All right. So, yeah, controversial. We want to see if you're a man, if you're truly a man. Yes. All right. So, are you ready?
Yeah, sure.
All right, cool. Here goes. FIFA or PES?
Oh my God.
Are you really asking that question? Okay, I wouldn't go direct about this. I'm a PES guy.
Okay.
I'll definitely choose PES.
Oh my God.
But just chill.
Show.
Just chill and let me finish. So here it is.
Okay, I'm listening.
There's a reason why PES says the pitch is ours, and there's a reason why EA Sports, FIFA say it's in the game. PES has the best gameplay. Gameplay-wise, PES is better than FIFA. But every other thing, from soundtrack to the UI to how they carry it and how they package it, FIFA is way better. That's just it. But gameplay-wise, PES is the best.
Impressive.
I used to say FIFA is a man's game. If you like PES, you're just meh.
And the commentary. PES's commentary is much more fun to listen to than FIFA's commentary. FIFA's commentary is boring to me. Trust me. It just has more depth, but it's boring.
Wow.
You can't have Peter Drury and Jim Begley commentating and you're telling me it can be boring.
When we're going to create a poll on Twitter and ask.
Wow.
Because this is a serious one.
You think you know someone and they just go around and stab you in the back. That's okay. Yo. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. Really appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for coming on this episode.
Thank you very much, guys.
Sharing your gist with us.
And betraying us by taking place.
Yeah, we're actually really grateful. So we're just going to link Tosin's socials in description. I think just Twitter. Twitter is okay. So that's at king_OT. That's KIING. KIING_OT. So we're just going to put the link down below. Yeah. And if you have any more questions for Tosin,
and if you like to argue with him based on
exactly,
FIFA,
yes, call him out, drag him. You are free. And we also, love hearing from every one of you. So if you have a question that you're not sure you can ask Tosin, you can ask us. We'll help you ask him. Don't worry.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening. See you again in the next one.